This is Gaza in 2025. A little girl crouches in the shadows of a broken home. Her stomach growls with hunger. It has been days since she last tasted bread. Her parents are gone. Her brothers are missing. Tears carve lines through the dust on her cheeks. Then, the night is torn apart by the cry of Allahu Akbar, followed by gunfire. She trembles not out of fear, but out of resentment. Her eyes close, and suddenly, she remembers her classroom. A whiteboard, and written on it, in bold letters, "Our hero and savior, Salahuddin Ayyubi." Her lips tremble as she whispers, "Will such a hero ever rise for us again?" Jerusalem, the heart of prophets, the city of Al-Aqsa. But in the year 1186, its streets were under Crusader rule. For nearly 90 years, Muslim families lived in sorrow. Children grew up in its alleys without ever hearing the adhan from Al-Aqsa. Mothers whispered to their sons, "Will we ever see Jerusalem free again?" They never thought that their prayers would find an answer so soon. Salahuddin Ayyubi was the answer to their prayers. Salahuddin Ayyubi was not born as a king, nor raised in palaces, yet his destiny was to get Jerusalem back from the Crusaders. But here lies a mystery. How did a quiet boy, born in Tikrit, Iraq, in 1137, become the liberator of Jerusalem? His father, Najm-ud-Din Ayyub, was a man of honor. His mother was a woman of compassion and faith. His uncle Shirkuh was a fierce warrior. Once looked at him and said, "This boy carries the spark of leadership." Unlike other boys, Yusuf was quiet, thoughtful. He found joy in the Quran, in prayer, in the stories of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He valued justice more than conquest, mercy more than power. No one could imagine then that this child would one day shake the world. Under the guidance of his uncle Shirkuh, Yusuf grew in strength. He joined military campaigns in Egypt, where his intelligence and courage stood out. At just 31 years old, he was appointed Vizier of Egypt. Soon, he became its ruler. He built schools, mosques, and hospitals. He reformed armies. He was very generous to the poor. His dream was not for himself, it was for the unity of Muslims, to heal a world broken by division and rivalries. He felt great pain for Jerusalem and always planned how to get it back from the Crusaders. The year is 1187. Jerusalem has wept under the Crusaders' rule for nearly 90 years. Since the massacre of 1099, the city's streets carried memories of horror. In that massacre, men were cut down, and mothers holding children were slaughtered. Even Al-Aqsa was drenched in blood. For generations, Muslim families lived in grief. Fathers told their sons of the day when their city was stolen. Mothers prayed through tears, "Will we ever walk freely into Al-Aqsa again?" The wound was deep, not only of land, but of faith, of dignity. And then, a name began to rise. Salahuddin Ayyubi. The question in every heart, could he succeed where others had failed? Could he truly bring Jerusalem back? The answer came in 1187. The Crusader King Guy of Lusignan marched with a massive army, confident that they would crush Salahuddin. But Salahuddin was not just brave, he was a master strategist. He lured the Crusaders into the arid plains near Hattin, where water was scarce. His men cut off supplies, surrounded the enemy, and waited. The blazing sun, the thirst, the exhaustion, it broke the Crusader army. When the moment came, Salahuddin struck. The Crusaders fell into chaos. Their banners collapsed. Their knights surrendered. The Battle of Hattin was not just a victory, it shattered Crusader power in the Holy Land. And now, the road to Jerusalem was open. But Salahuddin was not like his enemy. the Crusaders. And when he entered the city, the world waited for revenge. They remembered the rivers of blood in 1099. But Salahuddin's response stunned everyone. No massacres, no burning of churches, no slaughter. He gave safety to Christians. He allowed churches to stand. Even Richard the Lionheart, his fiercest rival, would call him a noble foe. Jerusalem, in 1187. For the first time in nearly a century, the Adhan echoed through Al-Aqsa. Families who had only known sorrow now fell to their knees in gratitude. Old men wept, mothers clutched their children, and soldiers laid down their arms just to hear the call to prayer rise above the city once more. But happiness was shadowed by a looming fear. Word spread quickly across Europe. Kings and knights swore vengeance. The Third Crusade had begun. At its head marched the mighty Richard the Lionheart, with an army unlike any before. Muslims trembled. Would Jerusalem fall again? Would rivers of blood return to its streets? And yet, at the center of this storm stood Salahuddin, not a man drunk with victory, not a ruler who sought revenge, but a humble servant of God. Even when facing kings, he bowed his head in modesty. Even when offered luxury, he chose simplicity. His true strength was not only in the sword, but in his mercy. And it was this mercy that turned enemies into admirers and carved his name forever into history. The Third Crusade brought Richard the Lionheart to the Holy Land. Battles raged between the two sides. Yet, what amazed the world was the respect these two warriors had for each other. When Richard fell ill, Salahuddin sent his own doctors. When Richard's horse was killed in battle, Salahuddin sent him another. Though enemies, they treated each other with honor. Richard called Salahuddin a great prince, and even confessed that he would rather have him as a friend than as an enemy. The war ended with a truce. Christians could visit Jerusalem, and Muslims would keep their holy city. And through it all, Salahuddin's nobility shone brighter than the sword. His strength was not only in his sword, but in his mercy. And it was this mercy that carved his name into history forever. Salahuddin ruled vast lands, yet lived like a simple man. He wore modest clothes. He turned away from luxury. Despite ruling vast lands, Egypt, Syria, Yemen, and Jerusalem, Salahuddin lived simply. He wore modest clothes. He ate very simple food. He prayed long into the night. And when he died in Damascus in 1193, the man who ruled an empire left behind almost nothing. No riches, no treasures, not even enough money to pay for his own funeral. But he left behind something greater, a legacy of justice, mercy, and faith. In Gaza, in Jerusalem, in Palestine, today mothers still cry for their children. Families still pray for freedom. The streets still echo with both sorrow and hope. When we remember Salahuddin, we do not only remember a man, we are remembering a spirit of justice, a spirit of unity, a spirit of mercy. Salahuddin's story whispers to us, heroes do not rise from palaces. They rise from faith, from compassion, from a belief that dignity is worth more than life itself. And perhaps, somewhere today, among the children of Palestine, lives the spirit of the next Salahuddin.